Hey everyone, what is going on? It's Brian. We are back again, and we are in full swing of things for the fall release season. And today we are looking at the 2021 Four Roses Small Batch Limited Edition. You know, I recently did the video where we recapped the 19, the 20, and the 18 to kind of get our palate anticipating for the 2021 release. So now we have it, and we are going to dive right on in to this Four Roses Limited Edition Small Batch 2021. I have the breakdown of the specs down below while we're nosing this. And the nose has a lot of caramel. It moves into this like bruleed banana note. And so there's something that's like, it's slightly herbal, slightly banana-y, but a little bit toasted as well. And my general assumption is that maybe is that little bit of the Q recipe that's in there. I say that because there are several OBSQs that I've had this year, and they have had a profile that sort of reminds me of Old Forester. And so if there's going to be an herbal banana note in this, I'm going to attribute to that low percentage of the Q. Otherwise, what I'm thinking is that, you know, the OESK element will add some fruit notes, and you definitely get some kind of red fruits growing in the nose. But the caramel and the oak, I think you're going to get a lot of that coming from the large majority of OESV recipe. Well, the first time I had this, I thought the nose was overwhelmingly incredible. The nose today is a slight bit sharp and leaving a little bit more to desire there. Let's go ahead and jump into the palate. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so if you're looking for a huge profile, a bam, welcome to 2021, you're not going to get this in this pour. If you are a big fan of Four Roses profiles, you're going to like this pour. The palate is it's spongy, it's densely sweet. It's like this I think I've said before, like the dulce de leche kind of cake thing, like a sweetened condensed milk, saturated, thick, caramely sweetness is the first thing you notice. It moves into a lot of fruitiness. There's a lot of red fruit. See if I can break it down more. Oh man, there's just a lot of the caramelized, like powdered sugary, caramelized sugar, creme brulee topping notes, raspberry, some stone fruit notes. It's not quite peach, but it's almost peach. It gets this chewy, caramely vanilla sweetness after those fruity notes, and the oak comes in there. It's a touch tannic in the oak, and I personally like that. It's some barrel char. It lingers with brown sugar slowly on the palate. Not incredibly present, but it does still have this kind of like black tea, herbal, caramelized banana note there. It's not if you're someone who's like, ugh, banana, no. Don't let that dissuade you from this pour. It's light in the cup. It's intriguing the way that it brings that in. Now that I'm smelling the nose, I get more of this amaretto note. It's slightly perfumed, but not all that much. It moves into slightly dusty territory, but not all that much. But man, there's a lot more coming on the nose after you sip it. Honey. Oh man, a lot of honey, a lot of raspberry, a slight bit of silky chocolate. This is one that I initially thought was a little bit thinner on the profile, and I thought that that's something that would turn a lot of people off. I think when people want something like a limited edition, they expect it to be super rich, super big, like all the bells and whistles. If, like I said, if you like Four Roses, personally, I've gone after, and I know a lot of other people who might be watching this video have had a lot of very good OESV single barrel bottles. And there is a slight level of complexity and nuance added to this that takes it away from that. But I think that there are probably some single barrels that have had more viscosity, more body, a little bit more heavy caramel and vanilla, or maybe some that have had a little bit more heavy fruitiness. This is a very balanced limited edition, and it presents all the flavors very well. It's rounded and it doesn't have too much jump out at you. I really like, as I chew on it, it has nods to 19 in that kind of dusty leather and oak. And on that note, let's just try and quickly compare. Do I like this more than the 2020 LE? Yes. Now, if you like spice, and if you like a myriad of spice, complex spice, really unique spice, then the 2020 might actually be for you. The 2020 seemed to have a little bit more, maybe a little bit more oomph to it, a little bit more barrel char, notes maybe more akin to like Jim Beam on the palate, and it came with a myriad of spices. It wasn't overly spicy, but it was more spice driven than this one is. Do I like this more than the 19? No. The 19 had this saddle leather, these old oak notes, leather notes. It was very much a more dusty-esque pour, dark chocolate, dark fruits, slightly medicinal, a little similar to older Heaven Hill, older Willet, older Wild Turkey products. It was definitely an oldie time pour. So what does the 2021 have? It has a slight bit of that dusty funk that sits on the front of the palate and it starts to dissipate across the back of the palate. And in exchange, it's like this fruit cocktail filled, fresh honey, creamy vanilla, some older oak and older leather influence. It's not overly viscous like some of the past releases, or even like some good picks from the OESV and OESK run that I've tried this year. I would say that the sweetness, at least initially, that cakey vanilla sweetness reminds me of the 130th, the 2018 release a little bit. But the fruitiness that it brings almost takes me back to the 2016. So this is a profile that has a lot of things that it's doing kind of under the surface. I feel like there's a lot of moving pieces to this. And while it's not the flashiest Four Roses, people who enjoy Four Roses are going to fall in love with this pour. People who like the LEs historically are going to be able to find things about this pour that makes them remember pours of the past 5 or more years of LE. And I think there's something to be said about that. Silky milk chocolate, sea salt caramel, dense brown sugar, a resurgence of the chocolate, this time with old oak, barrel char, a myriad of fruitiness, and a lowly place spice that runs through it, but is not the dominant note. Guys, this is a very intriguing Four Roses LE. As somebody who has been going after a lot of single barrels this particular year, this is welcomed, and it's a familiar profile, and it's one that I feel like I could find myself reaching towards often. While maybe not the profile that we might have expected or have the oomph that we might like, I think there's people who are definitely going to be turned away from that. If you're not a Four Roses fan, this might not be a profile for you. This is definitely something that I think is appreciated by Four Roses fans. If you're able to come into it at retail, definitely pick it up. I think you're going to love it, especially if you're one who isn't able to often drink Four Roses single barrels. There's a lot of things that you're going to enjoy about this. But there's nothing about this, I don't think, that's going to change the mind of someone who doesn't like Four Roses. I think it's got some nuance and character, very reminiscent of really good single barrels that we've had. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you want to get more content, please subscribe to the Entry Proof Podcast. That's a podcast that I do with Drew P. Whiskey. He's also here on YouTube. And we're generally over on his channel live on Thursday nights. If you want to support the channel, the reviews that I'm doing or that Drew's doing, go ahead and support us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/entryproofpodcast. And by doing so, you can get some sweet swag and access to our barrel picks. Until next time, everybody, we'll see you all later.